Hey, buddy, welcome back to another exciting episode of Citizen Frame, and Happy New Year. It's 2026, and what better way to start off 2026 than with a sequel to the big hit of Wicked, which is called Wicked for Good. Very clever, very clever. We got original team back. John Chu is back to direct. This based on the novel from, what's his name, Gregory Maguire.
Yes, I think it was written in the mid-90s.
Yep, Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. It is. This is the sequel. I'm sure they did them back to back, obviously, because it came out just a year later. Yeah. So I'm sure they did them all in sync and yada yada yada. So the original cast is back. There's not much really to add to it, but this one not as well received and not the biggest hit. Same thing as last one. Cost $150 million to make. It's only made $510 million. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money, but it's a significant drop from $250 million more that the original made. But this is getting kind of bum reviews. I've watched it. That's right, people, twice, because I'm classy. If I'm going to tear something to shreds, I better fucking back it up. First time I watched this, I was going to tear it to shreds. I still am, probably, because I'm a mean-spirited prick. And it's a Sunday morning, and my Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won last night. But we have to wait, and hopefully the fucking Saints win their game for us to make it to the playoffs. And I hate when we have to depend on another team to get us into the playoffs. So I'm not in the mood.
Oh, Mr. Badass. Worrying about his futuristic rugby.
That's getting so old, man. You say that all the time. It's just...
And you're going to take it out on Wicked for Good. That's terrible.
What? Me going to rip on Wicked? Or, hey, that's a tongue twister. Rip on Wicked? Or you think it's terrible?
But we'll get to it, let's just say. But no, you were saying about Wicked for Good not doing as well as the previous one. And it's something similar, actually, over the Christmas period with the new Avatar. It hasn't done as well as the previous two. So, I don't know, maybe it's a bad sign for cinemas. Who knows?
I don't think it's sad. I just think people want something new. That's all. The Avatar was going to eventually fall flat. I mean, it made its money, but not as much as the others.
Well, I suppose it is the sort of law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, I mean, people get sick of the same thing. It's copy and paste. But let's just jump into Wicked here and see how they wrap things up. So there you go. So this takes place, I don't know. There's a problem with this film. And I always like to bitch about if I don't get it. Timelines. I know they pepper in. This takes place during the actual Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So when we see Dorothy and yada, 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 we kind of know where we're at. That's kind of the way they did it. But I do get lost a little bit and what is past. And maybe there's one line there that I'm missing, but maybe you'll...
Well, it's set, like, I believe, so many years after the events of the previous Wicked. Where, at least months anyway, where basically Elphaba has been demonized as the Wicked Witch of the West, and Glinda is basically, she's been promoted to social media influencer in Oz. She's like the top woman, and everybody loves her because she always wanted to be popular, but she's conflicted because she did have a bit of growth.
I know, but okay, but that, it still doesn't help with timelines. But it gets a little confusing because you've got all these characters from the other one. You got the fucking Nasa, who's now governor. Bach is her bitch slave.
Yeah,
you've got, and Fiyero is head of the military. So there's a leap here.
It's set so many years, or at least months after the events of the previous one.
All right, we'll just go with that, I suppose. Not the end of the world. But we open up with the Yellow Brick Road being built, and they're using animals as slave labor. And Witchy Poo shows up to kind of put them in their place for not, don't hurt the animals, yada, yada, yada. The one thing the first film kind of got right, it had a darker element to it. This one should have had a lot more darker tone to it. And they kind of pussyfoot around things. And it could have been edgier, like the other one was. And that's where the one thing, there's a couple things that this movie does not do well, especially with some topics we're about to talk about.
What I find essentially is that they have too much sort of storylines and plot lines to deal with and so much to do that what we get on the screen is it feels to me anyway, very rushed. And, it's like they've too much to do. I also think that the Wizard of Oz elements from, the original from the 1930s hurt it a lot, but we'll get to it.
Let's talk about some of the character flaws. I mean, the one thing I praised the original for was Glinda and Elfie's journeys, and we talked about arcs. And Glinda, I thought, had the best. She finally found her niche at the last film. She was confident. She wasn't a little bitchy woman that she was. She no longer calling herself Glinda, et cetera, et cetera. This one, she's just a clueless twat again. I mean, she went from finding herself and all good to go. I'll probably get in trouble for calling her that, but I don't give a fuck. But now she's just clueless again. She's gone back to what she was. She finds herself again, but we already did this the first time.
Well, it is sort of, I know what you're saying, but it is sort of explained where it's due to her promotion, where she couldn't basically resist being popular, basically, and the Good Witch and all of that. But, it does make it clear that she is conflicted and she does feel bad and guilty. But it does sort of go against her almost full character arc in the previous one, where she basically became a woman, she grew up, sort of thing.
I also felt that Michelle Yeoh's character was misused, and Oz himself. And I think Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum kind of got a bum rap here, because all Michelle Yeoh does is spread rumors. That's all she's doing. She's on a fucking mic the whole movie, and she's spreading rumors. Oh, Witchy Poo's so bad, and
it's pantomime.
Yeah, what they need, this one I meant edgier, and the last one was edgy. What they needed to do here was she needed to kill people. She needed to kill somebody and blame the witch. Make the witch more of a threat, because I have not seen anything that the witch has done that's threatening to these people.
Well, she does start the cyclone that ends up with the Wicked Witch from the East getting killed. So technically that's her fault. But
first personally, she's not. I don't mean to interrupt there, but I have to say, you said that in the last podcast too. She's not the Wicked Witch of the East. She just says that in a one-off sentence because NASA's character, her big arc, she's a terrible character in this, by the way. She's terribly written.
Pointless.
But she's exactly. She's the governor. And when she turns Tin Man, Bach into a Tin Man, which I did like that twist, by the way, and I do like the twist with Fiyero as well. But the problem is she just goes, I guess I'm just she's the Wicked Witch of the West. That makes me the Wicked Witch of the East. It was just a one-off. She wasn't a witch or anything. She just put that as a title.
Yeah. They are playing around a bit with the
they're playing around it.
The lore.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But basically, regarding Madame Morrible, I personally think the character's a complete pantomime villain, but she's also very underdeveloped. And I have to say, the acting is pretty bad by Michelle.
I don't think it's bad. I think
it's wooden.
Yeah, maybe you're right, because there's no emotion to her.
You know what I think the problem is, especially with this second film. I think there was a lot of weird shit going on behind the scenes. Obviously there's been the weird interviews with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, but I think there's been, I don't think it was a perfect shoot. Let's just say I don't know all the facts.
It seems like this in this version, at least, these people weren't getting along.
You can see strangeness, let's just say, for whatever reasons, I don't know, but it comes across with the performances, especially Michelle Yeoh. Is it the right way to pronounce her surname?
I think it's Yao.
Right, okay, fair enough.
I don't know. I just feel all the characters they just didn't seem to want to be there.
Yeah.
But we'll continue with this, and I mean, it's got some really clever ideas. And I thought at the end of the last one, the monkeys went with her, but they weren't. They're still bound up.
But they had her on to do.
Yeah, they obviously eventually join her. But I like the fact that the true wizards are pretty much going to be She-Hulk and Morrible, and those are the true wizards technically. And the other two, and then they kind of turn. And then there's a scene where she gives her a bubble instead of a broom; it's a bubble-mobile.
Ariana Grande, yes.
Yeah, it's a terrible scene. She acts so clueless in this. I'm like, this is completely out of character. But she keeps popping the bubble, turning it on, popping the bubble. And there's Michelle Yeoh just rolling her eyes, which is pretty much all she does in the entire film is roll her eyes at Glinda.
The comedy doesn't really work here. Later on, whenever Elphaba and basically Ariana Grande have that sort of stupid cat fight, after Nessa
we'll talk about that.
Dorothy.
Let's hold that thought for a moment. We'll get to that scene. What a waste of a scene, especially when your sister just gets crushed by a fucking house.
Yeah, they have a stupid flipping
no
cat fight.
Emotions. Yeah, we'll get to that. That's the one scene I can't believe they kept in. Visually, it's still the same. It's beautifully set and beautifully, but we got Nisa Rose, who's the governor, which I just mentioned, and she treats Bach like a piece of shit. And then Bach decides, well, I'm leaving. But because Bach is a munchkin's an animal, and he's leaving, he says, I'm going to go. She decides to put forward this bill where animals and munchkins have to have a permit to travel.
Yeah.
And so Bach couldn't travel. So he's forced back into Nessa Rose's being her assistant. And she's so vile about it. But then when he leaves or comes back or decides he's just going to leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you, she's she's crying for him. It was so, where are you here? Do you love him or not? Or
the character motivations are a bit, I mean, obviously they can sort of play it where, yes, she's just, she didn't want to lose him so badly that she created an entire law where munchkins weren't allowed to travel freely. And it all happens very quickly. It happens like within seconds, where a law is passed and, all this sort of thing. Well, obviously, it's the magical land of Oz, so things work differently. But yeah, it's all about, again, it goes back to everything feels really rushed and choppily edited.
Yeah, there's something going on here. Yeah, in the last one, Bach fell in love with Nessa Rose. And now in this one, he's back in love with Glinda and wants to go back to her. And so I think Nessa Rose gets jealous. I mean, where the fuck did this all come from?
There are some, I think, overall some good ideas on display, but they feel underdeveloped. And the end result ends up just a bit of a sort of thrown together mess.
Let's see. I'll tell you what works. The Tin Man Scarecrow thing work.
Yes, I would have loved more about that. Because
I wanted more of
the tragedy of that.
Yeah, Fiyero's character should have been, he just kind of disappears and shows up at the very end. But you needed more of that. And
totally.
Because I felt sorry for Bach. And because Nessa Rose takes the book and she just screams words like the Necronomicon. And
it's the Necronomicon, yeah. That's what I call it, the Necronomicon. Yeah.
And she says the wrong words and turns him into a Tin Man.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, the actors don't want to be here. Complete opposite of what we got. Because what happens is Witchy Poo is there, and Nessa Rose turns him into the Tin Man. She closes the door. She hasn't realized that she's done this yet. And he goes, his heart, he said his heart was shrinking. Is it okay? And she goes, well, he doesn't need his heart anymore. Well, you kind of do, but she goes, yeah, he'll be okay. He just needs to rest or something. And she just witnessed her sister turn this the nicest character of the group into this Tin Man. And there's really well, okay, that's it. Oh,
there's no real, it's not explored properly. I wanted these transformations of, Fiyero into the Scarecrow and Bach into the Tin Man. They could have really explored the darkness and the tragedy of that.
Yeah,
they're skipped over.
They kind of do.
They're rushed
with Bach, but it's rushed. There's a scene where they're getting to the Oz part where we got to pour water on the kill the witch, and Dorothy's going to put water on the
and he's leading
water on
the
witch. and the mob mentality, the Frankenstein thing.
Yeah.
And it works. And he gives a speech, this very hateful speech, and you believe it. But by the time he says that, it's been 40 minutes ago. He turned into this thing. He just disappears. And it's just, we already know Glinda. We already know Witchy Poo. We already know Morrible. We already know Nasha Rose. We already know the Oz. Give us the Tin Man story now and give us the Scarecrow story. I would have been all up
That's
for
what I wanted.
And what pissed me off, that terrible CGI lion.
Yeah, that doesn't work really either. It's again, they could have explored that more about the Cardley Lion, but it doesn't even make sense.
The lion should have been another human that was turned. Give us another character they could have peppered in a background or something.
It doesn't even really make sense because the Wicked Witch was never bad to the lion. In fact, she was trying to save the lion. So the lion is either completely thick as shit or, I don't know, it's believed all these lies or whatever, but it didn't make any sense to me that the lion would hate her. And, it's, a lot of it just doesn't really make full sense whenever you examine it. But again, after Buck gives that speech and stuff, that's the last we see of him, as far as I can remember. And he just sort of disappears. Also, the stuff where they incorporate elements of the Wizard of Oz within it, and not just the Scarecrow and the Tin Man stuff, but the Dorothy stuff. As we discussed in the last podcast, for copyright reasons, they couldn't fully show Dorothy. So I think that actually hurts. I think they should have just set this during a different time period, like before the events of the Wizard of Oz, and just dropped the whole Dorothy stuff altogether.
I think you want to get the ending of the witch if you did that. I didn't mind the Dorothy thing. They could have left her out. We know her story.
Yes.
We actually don't know the Tin Man story or the Cowardly Lion story or the Scarecrows. Even in the Wizard of Oz, we don't.
Yeah.
In fact, all they are manifestations in Dorothy's dream of her uncles. This is who they are.
I know that. Yeah, it's played by the same actors. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's how they played it. So that's what we got out of it. But I really wanted a backstory. This should have been their story. We know the other story, and we can all wrap it up together, big battles and blah, blah, blah. But you needed the focus on them three characters.
Totally. I would have loved to have seen that there. And, with any sort of dark transformation like that, there always is a certain tragedy, But here it's just skipped over and thrown together.
With Glinda finally talking to Oz and going, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to free the monkeys. And he does so. But in doing so, one of the monkeys, which I kind of like, says he's not telling you everything. And by pointing her to this hidden doorway. And down this dungeon are animals who were talking at once that are no longer talking, including Dr. Dillamond. And he's in there and all these trapped animals. And this is where you find out that she kind of puts the pieces together. She's been betrayed. And no offense, she's a fucking idiot because she should have known this from the last movie.
Can I ask a question? Maybe I'm missing something, but why does the wizard have such a hatred for animals? It doesn't really... There's no real reason given for his hatred of animals.
Why do any of them hate animals?
Yeah, there's no real reason given for that. The animals...
that'd be kind of cool talking to your cat.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. But there's no... I mean, the animals... yes, I know they're being used as scapegoats for, problems in Oz or whatever, and there's all sorts of political allegories going on here. Yeah, we get that. But within this universe, there are no actual proper sort of laid down reasons for the hatred of animals, unless I've missed something.
There must have been a one line. There had been something that I think Professor Dillamond or Dr. Dillamond says in the original. I can't remember, where because of the drought, the animals are being wiped out, and I don't think there is a drought at this point. I think it was the wizard doing it, or Oz and what do you call it, Morrible.
Well, certainly with
I can't remember. There has to be a reason
or
why
Elphaba or whatever you call it, the Wicked Witch. Certainly, there are reasons for them to go against her because they fear her and her use of the magic and stuff. But with the animals, it just didn't add up for me.
Oh, he has a line. He does have a line where it's pretty much pecking order.
Yeah,
humans should be first. When animals were becoming too intelligent, so they were. I think they were scared. The fear. And he also says a line when she's freeing all these animals from the cage. He says, "Some animals can't be trusted," and so that's kind of their one-line
also
fix.
Part of the animals lose their speech just by being imprisoned.
No, I think that's because of.
Was it Morrible? Did she cast a spell, or I don't know?
I thought we talked about this. I thought it was the drought they talked about. That something was going on with the animals.
But why would that make them lose their speech patterns or the ability to speak?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's like a disease that was a virus that was going through, wiping out their. Which doesn't make any sense because the professor loses his voice as we find out because we see him, he just goes bah, but yet we meet Nanny Bear, who's going. All these animals that are going underneath the yellow brick road. They can still speak.
Yeah,
so that's where I was
getting the hardly land and stuff. Yeah,
it's very muddled. It's like, who can what?
The whole thing's very muddled, to be honest.
Yeah. So the animals ruined the wedding. This whole wedding scene was fucking obnoxious. Thank God the animals do show up. They concentrated way too much on this wedding. But you just and Fiyero, is that his name? Yeah, Fiyero. He helps the witch escape. And this is when they fuck.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't stop laughing. This love scene as they're singing, taking off their clothes. Well, that's how I work. I break in a song before yum yum time. But
dear, that sounds horrific.
And so
on so many levels,
I just need a partner.
Oh dear. Wait, what do you sing? What songs do you sing? I bet you're a Michael Bolton guy.
Sugar on me.
No, I bet you it's like pure, like sort of 80s cheese, like Michael Bolton.
Yeah. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. It's always a good one.
Oh yeah. How can we be lovers if we can't be friends?
Wow, you know the fucking lyrics.
Anyway. I don't even know if Michael Bolton sang that, but it sounds like something he would sing.
Is that we can be friends? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. How do I forget some?
Oh dear, my ears.
No, but this love scene was it was so uncomfortable. And nothing against the actors. They're just, come on. And
it was awkward. There's no chemistry.
There's no chemistry here. Yeah. It was just, what? Where did this come from? You're about to marry her. And that's why I get with the time thing. I need a timestamp here because all of a sudden he's the sergeant of the military or whatever he is, the captain, and he's going to marry Glinda, and he's getting sick of all the abuse that the witchy poo's taking, and so he decides at the wedding, oh, this is it, I'm done, and goes sleeps with her in the tree. Oh, you might like that. You probably like the witch in the tree. I'm surprised you don't like this film. It's got a witch and a tree.
And to talk an animal, a goat. Yeah.
There you go.
No,
this is a remake of The Witch.
In a way, yeah. No, it's all about basically the realization of the trees and the witches and the goats. But no, generally, yeah, it does. Again, I don't want to keep repeating the same things, but there's a lot of underdeveloped, quite good ideas, but it's to do with the realization and the way everything is just basically, it appears just thrown together, rushed.
There's a line after they have yum yum time.
Yep.
It's terrible. Because you're beautiful, and she goes, you don't have to lie to me, and he says something like, it's not lying if you look at things another way.
She says it later on to him then. They repeat the line later on whenever they decide to fuck off to the desert. Yeah.
You know what? Oh yeah, we'll get to that scene. That's so fucking stupid. So Matt, yeah. So finally, we get an upgrade where Morrible is going to do something of use instead of being a Twitter account or a TikTok. She's going to do something of harm instead of spreading rumors on her version of social media.
Yeah.
So she has the storm, which is a clever way of bringing in what happened to Nasa. I guess you can say the good wit, the bad, whatever she was, the witch of the east.
Witch of the east.
Which makes no sense. But anyways, we'll go with it. And the house, that's the house. It is funny. So there's this, again, timestamp here, people. So we left Nasa when Bach become Tin Man. And he goes, I'm done. I'm leaving. He's pissed. He thinks, I get confused why he thinks the witch did this to him, because it wasn't the witch who did it to him. It was Nasa, and he was there when she did it. So I don't get why he's confused there. But he's a fucking idiot now. He's a Tin Man. But he leaves, right? That was like 45, like a while ago.
Yeah.
And then so the storm's coming, and the twisters are, and everyone's locking up their houses, and the storm's coming. And there's Nasa in a wheelchair, rolling alone in the yellow brick road, going, "Hey, Buck, where are you, Buck? Where's he coming from? And how long has he been fucking rolling for? I don't get where's he's." And then she looks up. Now it's right on her. It's laughable. And I was like, where does she come from?
I was more picking.
And she's a governor. Doesn't she have transportation?
I mean, there's a lot of sort of the issues with the timeline in terms of, things happening very quickly. Basically, again, it goes back to the rush thing, but also I have issues with, although it happens off screen, Dorothy meeting up with the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, and the way, again, this is a different sort of universe and a different sort of realization of the event, so they are allowed a bit of sort of wiggle room. But the portrayal of the Scarecrow and the Tin Man in the original 1939 does go against sort of motivations for the characters here, but I get that it's not a direct sequel or prequel or whatever, but it's just the way my head works, where it's I want all this sort of all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. So, but generally with this, there is a lot of things just happening that there's no real build up to them, and so they therefore have no real emotional impact, including the sister's death by the house.
Well, so the sister gets it, which is fine. We saw it coming, I guess, but
she didn't.
It was the lack of the emotion between Glinda and Witchy Poo. It was just like, oh my! They start laughing at each other, having a silly little fight, which was dreadful, by the way.
It was playground nonsense.
It was playground, like those schoolgirls.
Yep,
and right in front of your dead sister.
Well, this is the thing. A scene like that could work in terms of comedy, but not directly after what is supposed to be an emotional scene of the death of a big character and the main character's sister. So it jars.
It makes no sense. And then if the answer is, I want my sister's shoes.
Yes.
What? What the fuck? Who cares?
No. The slippers are sort of important. I'll give them that. Because that's basically in the original, that's one of the things that the Wicked Witch is pissed off with Dorothy for. Well, that and bumping off her sister. But, so I'll give them the slippers, but generally the silly playground cat fight is tonally way somewhere else compared to what is supposed to be an emotional big death scene.
Yeah. It just came and went.
Yeah. Exactly. And like so much of this.
It would have been better if Glinda wasn't there, or she leaves.
Yeah.
It would have been better if. I love how Glinda just gives her friend's dead body. I love how she just gives her shoes to Dorothy. Oh, here you go. Use these. This will get you there.
Oh,
okay.
Who does that? That's like. Imagine seeing somebody die. That would be like me seeing somebody like sort of dying in the real world and steal their shoes and give them to you.
So she's
Who does
dead.
that?
She's dead. Gives her the slippers. We see Dorothy walk off, and then she's like, "Ooh." Oh, okay, goodbye.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
you pretty much just gave your dead.
Bye-bye, Dorothy. Bye-bye, Toto.
Yeah, and so that what should have happened there is that they all should have left, and then have the witch show up by herself and seeing the body of her dead sister, and leave that one-on-one time for them. That would have been better. Glinda should have not been in the seat. In other words,
No. Well, if they had had Glinda there, yes, they could have done both actually. Have her like sort of crying and stuff and distraught and the guilt over her sister's death. But then they could have had maybe Glinda appear, and then they have a serious fight, not silly playground stuff. They actually have a serious sort of argument and stuff, and it's played very emotionally and dramatically heavy. But instead, we've got, I don't know what, primary school stuff for laughs.
when they take when Fiyero shows up
Yes.
and he puts the gun to Glinda and goes, "Let her go," and the witch goes, he tells the witch to go. Here's what I don't get. So he's there and he's going to, and I'm not trying to nitpick it because I'm still kind of going with the guys. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's not shit, but for the competency we got in the last one, this one's a little muddled. And the consistency I have a problem with, and that is with Witchy Poo's powers. So she's a witch. She can fucking make brooms and shit fly and give monkeys wings and shit. And now I'm thinking she needs the book in order to get her powers or something, the Grimoire, because here she is. She's surrounded by guardsmen. We're going to take you in, witch. And Fiyero saves her by holding Glinda hostage, right?
Yes.
Well, why can't she just blink and turn them into monkeys or something? I don't know. I don't get what powers does she have then?
She has, I think, to be fair here, I think she has a certain amount of power on her own, but it's the Necronomicon, basically, as I call it, that gives her the full-on power that to like do all sorts. And I think that's what Morrible's using as well. She has a certain amount of power, but also the Necronomicon can make her bring cyclones and people from Kansas over to the magical land of Oz and stuff. So yeah, there is a bit, but at the same time, there is a bit of plot convenience here.
And there's a nice scene that you get like a half a second shot, and it was actually kind of a creepy shot, but they don't utilize it. And it's where Fiyero takes a hit and he gets arrested.
Yes.
And then there's a cutaway where he's being hung up like a scarecrow. Really creepy, actually, in the background, and it's shadowed, and they're hanging him up, and he's just dangling there and they cut away. We don't see him ever again.
I get
that could have been utilized. I wanted to see more of his transition. That makes sense.
100%. That's exactly what I was wanting. I get that there's only a certain amount they can show for a PG-rated film, but I was basically looking.
It doesn't have to be violent.
No, I know. But yeah, I was the same. I was wanting more, and basically with him in the field and him, going through this, I would imagine very painful transformation into the Scarecrow. But instead, it's sort of, we get a few flashes, and it sort of cuts away, and we don't see him again for a while. There's too much to do. Too many loose ends to be tied up in this film.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They should have focused on that, because we got kind of the dark scene where the monkeys were in pain as they're becoming, winged animals. They were in pain and screaming. Well, we could have got the same thing with him.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
I want the children of the corn, basically.
Well, now you're being silly.
Well, he was out in the cornfield.
I mean, you got to meet the people halfway. I mean, the first fucking 20 minutes of this movie is a song. Well, take that 20 fucking minutes out of them jumping around singing. We already know the fucking Oz and what it looks like. We don't need to see this again. Take that 20 minutes out and add it to his journey.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and of course, for Bach and becoming the Tin Man as well, that to me would have been great stories. I mean, they are great stories, but the realization here is it's very, very rushed and weak. And that again, I mean, I don't know, maybe they're playing to their main audience, which would be sort of, I would imagine, kids and stuff who want to see more of basically Glinda, the Wicked Witch. So yeah, maybe they had their work cut out, but on a personal level, I wanted to see more of the tragedy of their the transformation of Fiyero and Buck.
Piggyback on a comment you made on the last podcast. You made a comment about, so we see we see Witchy Poo and Glinda saying goodbye to each other.
Yes.
This is where she's going to pretty much self-sacrifice herself for the greater good. And
this is in the castle. Yeah.
This is in the castle. And we see this through the door, which I thought was clever, through the keyhole.
Yeah.
That we see the witch melting. Now, but they do answer the question with the water. Water doesn't hurt her. They just made it up.
Yes.
Now they just made it up to lure Dorothy up there for the water and pour water on. It's not going to hurt her, but obviously we know it's fake. She doesn't die. It's a fake out. But that explains the water thing. I was wondering, what's with the water? What's the big deal? Well, the water doesn't hurt her. She just planted that seed to give everyone false hope.
Yeah.
But anyways, when Glinda she finds that green bottle, and the monkey speaks. Good character, actually. I kind of like the monkey.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. I was thinking, what's his name? Andy Serkis. He played Gollum and all those. Caesar. He gives the green bottle, pretty much tells her, Oz. You give this to Oz. And that's the bottle that he gave his mistress.
Yeah, her mother.
To drink, which is pretty much Witchy Poo's mother.
Yes.
But he was never drugging her. There was no drug in that. They were just drinking out of it. It's like a flask is what it is. It's a flask. There's no drugs in it. But because she had that on her, he knows that he just killed his sister. Not his daughter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a good scene.
Basically revealed what we all sort of knew, that he was the father.
Yeah. And I like when she tells him that. She goes, "Here you go." And I like Jeff Goldblum's performance in this. I do like that. I do like the fact that you can see he feels like shit. And I like the way they fade his character out by he's looking through this clock kind of like mechanism, and we pan away from him as the mechanism closes. It's a good way of ending his character.
Well, actually, for me, again, on a personal level, I actually think the best song and dance number is the one with Jeff Goldblum. Wonderful. It's like an old jazz sort of club type number. Which is around the middle of the film.
That was about in the middle of the film.
Yeah.
So the one big one I had a problem with was Morrible. She gets arrested.
She's a dreadful character and dreadfully played, I have to say.
She gets arrested. Well, no. We needed some action here. We needed Morrible to fight the witch, right?
Yeah.
We needed something.
She's basically, Morrible is basically Michael Ironside, the evil henchman, right? But she has all she does is be bitchy on the Oz version of social media. Essentially, there is no real threat from her. We don't see her bumping anyone off. We do not take her seriously enough as a threat. And it's just all a bit strange, and bizarre.
I think it's funny where you have she goes to the crime scene where she gets the green bottle and she has the hat and where the witch died, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, I love you, my friend, forever." And then we cut to a burning Wicker Man version of her, yes. and she's like clapping and with the munchkins. Ding dong, the witch is dead. I'm like, that's your friend. What the fuck are you doing here?
The problem is, I think I haven't seen the play or I haven't read the book, so I haven't. So I'm just basing my thoughts on what I'm seeing, in the two films. I think that they had too much to fit in with the 1939 Wizard of Oz lore, and I think they had their work cut out in certain respects. Again, I would have to read the book or see the stage play at least, to be completely fair. But with these film versions, I think they had their work cut out with trying to work around the Wizard of Oz lore, the 1939 Wizard of Oz lore.
At the end, when it was revealed the witch isn't dead and the Scarecrow helped her.
Yes, we knew that was going to happen.
Blah, blah. Yeah, I knew they were going to kill her. But I was okay with that. I went with it. I mean, it'd be funny if, like, she's all green and he accepted that. he's fucking She-Hulk. He's happy with that.
Yeah.
And but he's all straw now. She'd be like, no, fuck you, man. Ew. Fuck that. The fuck?
Yeah, complete hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I bigoted against straw man. Fuck off, dipshit.
Yeah. When was I want to smoke? And actually set you on fire. What the fuck?
That's an ending I would have. That would have been a shock ending that I would have liked.
His head's in the fireplace, and she's like, I'm all nice and warm.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, at the very end, very, very end, she's got the Grimoire now, Glinda.
Yes, the Necronomicon, I call it. Please call it that.
And she opens. Grimorie's kind of a okay name, Grimoire.
Grimoire, yeah.
No, it's Grimoire.
I know, but it is a grimoire. That's essentially what a book of spells is generally known as, a grimoire. So, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll leave it to you to know that, you freak.
Well, you know me.
Yeah. So, and then the book opens, and she looks, and she sees something. I can't remember what it was, like a flashback or something. And she smiles. Was that the book telling her the witch is okay?
I got the impression that this was basically the witch passing on her power to Glinda through the book, and then Glinda then knowing that she was okay, that she had done this, so then therefore knowing that she was still alive and out there somewhere. I could be wrong. I got the impression that this was Glinda actually being able to do real magic, that the Wicked Witch had basically passed on her powers to her, and now she can, instead of being a fake sort of airhead, bubblehead, for want of a better word, basically she can now do real magic that's been passed on to her. But at the same time, because she knows that it was passed on there by the Wicked Witch is obviously alive out there somewhere.
Okay. All right.
It's
well,
a
there you go.
ending.
Happy ending.
Which I actually quite like, to be fair. That sort of slight element at the end, it does give a resolution for the Glinda character, and a good resolution.
The movie isn't terrible. I thought when I first watched, I was a little on the edge there with it, but it's okay. It's not as good as the first one. I do like the elements with the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. What we do get of it,
I want it more.
We wanted more, but we're not. And so I'm going to base it on that. I think they could have cut some of these dance numbers and give us more of the Tin Man Scarecrow. And I felt that Morrible was misused. I felt all she was is copy and paste. She was pretty much just a gossiper. She's pretty much just a gossiper. Then I thought the Nasa character was, what the fuck are we watching? She's all over the place. Was she bipolar? What the fuck am I watching? I didn't get what I was getting here.
Changing on a whim.
And so I just wish they focused more on the key characters of the original rather than some of the
I think overall there needed to be more focus.
Yeah, and there's definitely something on the set was going on because nobody there liked each other.
Doubt.
There was something going on. No, the chemistry was gone.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Even those weird interviews with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, you can tell there's something weird and not right has been going on behind the scenes. I don't know what it is fully, but you can just tell.
Yeah, you know. But guys, I gotta wrap it up by saying I kind of enjoyed the series here, the little mini retrospective. It wasn't crap. It was good conversation. There's flaws.
There was a lot to talk about, and that's a good thing.
All films have flaws, but to each their own. That's all I've got with this one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Next up, we're going to be doing The Running Man, the new one. And thinking about revisiting the old one. I know the old one like the back of my hand, so it'll be easy. I think we should. We'll do the next Running Man's. And then we're going to hit, yes, we said we were going to do it, the Children of the Corn retrospective. And that's going to lead up to the new Scream. Yeah. Can't wait.
Cool.
The new issue, a special edition of Phantasmagoria is out now. Trevor, I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, it's basically Kieran's favourite subject, and Kieran's in it. Doctor Who, although it's not Doctor Who, it's the Daleks, the great villains that originated in Doctor Who, but it's basically celebrating 60 years of the Daleks in the movies, the two Peter Cushing Doctor Who and the Daleks movies, but we're also cover basically the Daleks in all media forms, which is very extensive over the resulting sort of decades right up to the modern day, including on the TV show and, comic strips, books, all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's out now, available throughout the world from Amazon on the Phantasmagoria website, soon Forbidden Planet Belfast, locally. And, it features sort of cast and writers from the TV show and plenty of other big names within the genre. So check it out. It's a big one. And Kieran's in there despite his sort of, constant jabs at me about Doctor Who. He's actually written a piece about the Daleks. So check it out.
It is funny. It's heartwarming. My piece is just wonderful reading.
Epic. Yeah.
It's like a paragraph.
Yeah. Well, it's a couple of paragraphs. Yeah, it's like we have like memories of people's of their first memories of the Daleks. But yes, check it out. It's I have to say it is very interesting for not just fans of Doctor Who and the Daleks, but just a bit of film history overall and TV and cultural history.
There you go. Go check it out and give my article a read. You'd be a put a wonderful smile on your face and enjoy the rest of your day when you read the written word of Kieran.
Yeah, you'll be inspired.
Yeah,
to put your hand on the fire.
All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. Thanks for joining us, and we'll chat soon.